on this. This is our first go around, so there might be a few glitches. You might see maybe one council member upside down. That's by design, but we appreciate everyone participating with us. Now, this will be a little different. If you want to participate, you need to. We provided the app for you. GoToMeeting app. You can download that app. You can join us. If you want to participate, we'll need to see a video feed of you. We need to see your face, just like we would in our regular council chambers when you come in and talk to us. So go and download that app. Join us. Love to hear from you. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I've asked Tyler Dixon to give us the opening prayer.
Our dear kind Father in heaven, we are so very grateful to be gathered together as a community tonight to discuss ways that we can help the people that live here. We are very mindful of the current COVID-19 pandemic, and we ask you to please bless it. That will be controlled, and that caregivers will be protected, and that the economy will be strengthened, and that life will be normalized. We ask you to please inspire our mayor and council members that will help them to make the decisions that will most help with the city progress in making a great place for individuals and families to live. We ask you to please put a special blessing upon our first responders, other employees that are entering people's, that will keep them safe, that will keep those that are around them safest. We pray, thank you so much for the wonderful city that has given us. Jesus, amen.
Amen. I've asked Council Member Beck to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise and repeat the pledge after. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. Let's go to public comments. On up there in cyberspace, I'd like to address us. Please go ahead. State your name and go from there. All right. Seeing none, let's go to council comments. Let's go to Councilman Scopes.
Mayor, the only thing to report, the Utah Lake Commission will be they're looking at be able to meet online in the same form now. So that and Veterans Council meeting canceled due to the COVID-19. There just wasn't a business to be able to do online like we're doing. There is contact emails, a few things look approved, but nothing that's been pushed out yet. We're looking at that note. We'll push that forward. Well, other than that, trying to stay safe and stay home and get through this so we can get back to life normal.
Councilman Argyle.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to report, so we held our airport board meeting that my computer also, information that was there. I think I mentioned that they're going ahead with building hangars out west farther. They've asked us to haul dirt in there. They're really anxious about that drawing of what they've done. They want to add another row of hangars. Got enough where enough want to have a hangar for our airport. So that is forward. Sounds like they'll start moving dirt in there. They want to visit. Thank you. Well, I have
Councilmember Beck.
Thank you, Mayor. Couple things. We did our virtual meeting last night for Fiesta Days, and we are just kind of going to hold off till May timeframe to see how this all goes. So as of now, we're moving forward with things and are looking forward to a great event in July. I wanted to congratulate our attorney that has recently retired, City Attorney Junior Baker. We've appreciated him throughout the years of his service with Spanish Fork and Salem. So Junior, if you're watching, thank you. And then I wanted to just the city administration and the department heads during all of this. You guys have been extremely busy managing all of this on top of your other duties. And I think you've been a lot more proactive than reactive to everything. And I think you've done a great job at communicating everything with our residents. And just want to remind the residents to continually check the city's website or Facebook pages for the up-to-date things that closures or anything that the city is doing. And then to the city employees, thank you. Whether you're working from home or working out in your departments, there's a lot of things that you have to be out doing and you can't be home with your families. So thank you for that. And then finally, just a big thank you to our Spanish Fork Salem Area Chamber of Commerce. They are managing a lot of businesses and doing their best to help everyone stay afloat and find the resources needed. So thank you, the Chamber of Commerce, Heather Youd, and the board that is just trying to navigate through this as well. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Councilman Mendenhall.
Thank you, Mayor. Really quick, Stacy just touched on the Chamber of Commerce. Talking to Heather, he let me know they have canceled their events, just like all the other clubs and organizations. So the events for the foreseeable future, as far as getting together, are canceled, and they are doing a good job with that. Councilmember Beck doing a good job trying to help everybody stay afloat as far as local businesses. The Rotary Club is the same thing. They had a board meeting this morning in this format, but their club meetings have been suspended for the time being until we are over social distancing guidelines. The Rotary Chamber Golf Tournament that was scheduled for this month has been postponed. The date is looking to be in September. I can't recall the exact date. I think I want to say the 16th off the top, but it's a Wednesday in September that we'll get back together and put that great tournament on to raise money for scholarships. The Fit City Minute, if you will. Again, this is a time where with everything being unprecedented and going on and the loneliness of people certainly not being able to meet each other face to face and greet each other, which is something we all like to do, is along with the economic circumstances, obviously, is a tough thing on people's mental health. And so I guess my invitation out to the community is just that. The city has been actively putting resources available for people to be able to help with mental health issues. So please reach out if you need help. We'll point you in the right direction of how people can get help if they need it. Also, at the time we're home, obviously try to do all you can to stay physically healthy as well. I even showed Seth today that I took that a little bit, got up before the sun. I know you don't believe that, Mayor, but I did. I got up before the sun, ran around the park, and I'm sure in the next couple of days I'll eclipse Seth's 7-mile runs pretty quickly. So I'm working on the Utah League of Cities and Towns. We're having near daily meetings with the Lieutenant Governor's office. The meeting today was informative as well. A few of the things stuck out to me. We had a Facebook Live event just before this meeting that stressed economic issues and focused on our business community. And thanks to Dave and Scott for hosting that. And I shared a little bit of what the latest was related to cities today. But one of the main points I just wanted to share here is there's a lot always being said about the test and the the cases every single day, and we're all watching those counts. They did let us know that the counts Mondays and Tuesdays right now are a little bit low in the state. The reason being is the facilities are open on Saturday and Sunday, but there's hardly anyone going to those facilities on Saturday. So they ramp up and then nobody comes. And so those cases are reported on Monday and Tuesday. So don't be surprised if Wednesday and later in the week you have more cases. It's simply because the testing is catching up to that, and those things Saturday and Sunday were not done, so you didn't get some Monday, Tuesday numbers. Other than that, the league and the Association of Counties is in close contact with the state. Our city leaders are as well, to do all we can to disseminate correct information and do it in a clear and compassionate way, so we as citizens can understand that as much as possible and go back or go about our daily lives, even though they're a little bit changed. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Gordon.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate what Councilman Mendenhall said about taking care of yourself. Heard a statistic this morning about the state of Indiana. Average day of 1,000 people calling their suicide hotline, and in recent days, 25,000 people a day are calling that hotline. So I appreciate Mike and his efforts in the active and healthy community, what they have done, and want people to know that that is an option. Certainly seen a different mentality around the Gordon household, and it's been taking its toll, and we've been talking through that, trying to get to happier places, and we're optimistic that there's better days ahead, and just want to share that same feeling of hope as well. I also echo what Councilwoman Beck said about Junior Baker, and appreciate all of his time and service as our city attorney. We wish him well, and we welcome our new city attorney, Vaughn Bell. We're so grateful that he has accepted the job and the duty to keep Mayor Leifson out of prison. Second of all, or third of all rather, we had a solid waste last week where a large decision was made, as we've heard discuss, our compactor versus top load. A decision was made to approve the compactor, which is the method that we use now. I will say that our transfer station is still open. Other areas of the state have closed theirs. Our public has been doing a lot of spring cleaning. Numbers from yesterday were record setting. And just to give you context, we had 530 tickets pass over the scales at the transfer station. From noon to 1, there were 59. So that's about 1 every minute, meaning a lot of people are taking a lot of garbage over. People are taking advantage of spring cleaning, and so I applaud all of the employees over there that are working very hard and doing everything that they can to process all of the garbage that people are doing, yard work, spring cleaning, and different things around their home to take that. So they're business as usual, but they have some different methods in place to make sure that they're keeping social distancing guidelines. We also had a New Era meeting yesterday at, of course, the group that we share with our landfill. The only thing to report there is that some of the agencies around and cities around the state are doing dumpsters and in the community at different locations, and we're looking into that as an option so that you would have an option to bring some and of your yard clippings and or garbage as you're doing your spring up to certain locations in the city that would hopefully potentially make it easier for you. And so hopefully we can have something to report on that if that's. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I just wanted to mention a few things as I've been out and about of the city, but mostly I've been hunkered down doing video chats daily. But Cheryl and I went out, when we did go out, we drove up to the cemetery, and I don't know if Scott, if you could show that picture. I'll tell you what, this was a pretty touching sight. As we went by the cemetery, there was, I'm sure he was a veteran, up there cleaning off one of the monuments at the cemetery at the memorial park there for the veterans. And don't know who he was. He didn't see me, but sure touched my heart that even during these rough times, he's shown respect to his fellow veterans. So, kudos to him. What a great example he's setting for the rest of us out there. The other thing I just like to mention is, I've said a lot, businesses are struggling right now. So let's get out. When we do go out, let's support those businesses. We've been trying to go a few times a week to different restaurants here in town and buying lunch, trying to support them and help them out. They muchly appreciate it. I've heard back from a lot of owners saying how much they appreciate the community and what they're doing to help them during these rough times. So, and the other thing I just want to mention that Spanish Fork City, we have a task force every day talking about the situation we have going on here in the city with COVID-19, and it changes daily, and we're getting all the information that we can get. I just want to shout out to those members that are on that task force, trying to make decisions here for the city to keep our citizens safe and work through this virus so we can get back to normal and doing the things we want to do. So with that, let's move to Spanish Fork 101, COVID-19 and business. I don't know who's doing that.
So we'll do a two-part thing. Dave's going to take probably the majority of section. But so for just a second, indulge me. I'm going to share on screen something that I shared with the council before. It's been maybe days. We last looked at this. Hopefully you're looking. So you're looking at my screen that has the spreadsheet on it. Make it a little bit bigger so you can see the numbers easier. So we track everything, as the mayor said, as a task force, a couple of task forces, we have 3 that on a regular basis. So we're gathering data every day, moving quickly through this, not so that you can capture it all, but you can see the breadth, scope of what we're gathering. A lot of numbers, a lot of information. What we're really focused on is how is Utah County, how is Utah, how are we doing, and what should we prepare for? So on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, we're tracking this data. I'm going to show you just where Spanish Fork is. Just start, you can see that the last couple of days worth of data. Utah County is this line in red, we are, there are 236 cases as of today's report, county. We do get asked on a regular basis how many cases there are in Spanish Fork, and we actually don't get that data. Utah County Health Department, the state are gathering those, but keeping that data on a little bit more macro scale on the county level. They're not giving that out for personal health reasons, privacy of those individuals that are. And we know anecdotally that there are some cases, but aren't so government, but posts on Facebook together. We certainly expect that it will be here and that we'll have virus with them. But there are 236 cases as of today, and there are 1,738 cases today. This is actually really good news. Not great news at the time you have a virus, but it's really good news because I'll pull up the predictive model page that we've created. As a state, we're watching the growth trend. And a week ago, when we met last as a council, with the council, I can't remember exactly what day it was, but I want to say it was maybe around 28th of March. Maybe the 27th or 26th of March. And as a state, we were still growing on average. That particular day, we had grown at a 60% rate, but really to identify how the trend is going, you need to look back on a 7 to 14 day look back. And so that look back was about a 30. You can see for the last 10 to 14 days, we've had really good numbers as a state, which means that we're actually flattening the curve. And I say that in a very positive. The efforts and what we're doing as a state, it's really working, seeing success. So right now, the 7-day trend of what our 7-day look back of our increased rate sits at around 10%. I noted in a meeting earlier today that about 2 weeks ago, when we were looking at data, about a week and a half ago, we were expecting that on or around the 20th of April, there would be 40,000 cases. And that's how the growth trend was going. We would have about 40,000 cases. Of course, we had 40,000 cases. That would have put us at over 4,000 hospitals. And gratefully, happily, we are seeing numbers much better than that, as people really are listening to the governor, following the direction that he has asked us to take, and limit our social interaction. And so we're now growing, our increase is around 10% as a state. Let me slide over here and look at Utah County. Let's be a little bit more granular. How is this affecting Utah County? This column here has the cases in Utah County. And you can see that the percent increase has been kind of high. And our running 7-day average, so that again is saying not just what's today's increase, but look back over the last 7 days, what's our percent increase? It's been in the 30s and it's working its way down. And as Councilman Mendenhall mentioned a few moments ago, this data lags. So we're actually looking at data that was taken 2 days ago, tests rather that were 2 days ago, and of contaminations or of people that got affected up to a week and a half ago. So we're really looking at the rear view as we look at this data. But I am happy to see that our 7-day average really is going in a downward direction also. This has been a worry for me, wondering, is Utah County actually listening to, following the advice, directive given by the governor? I think there's still room to improve from what I observed, but Mayor, I'm happy to report that at this moment, it appears that we are beginning to see a downward trend in our county data as well, which bodes well for us. We continue to grow at a trend of, say, 20%. I'll update that cell there. At 20% in Utah County, see that in about 2 weeks we'll be around 3,500 cases. that would put about 230 people in the hospital in Utah County alone, maybe 150 or so in ICU. That's still going to be an overwhelming number for our hospitals, so hopefully we'll see that number go down. But with that, Mayor, I'm happy to report from our last meeting until now, it appears that we are seeing the curve flatten. And that is not a call for, hey, let's end what we're doing, but it is a recognition of we're seeing success what we're doing. Let's keep it up. As we do that, we'll see these numbers stay low, hopefully be able to return to normal sooner because we're listening, following that advice. And I'm done with my update, Mayor. Unless anybody has a question for me, we'll let Dave have a business. Go ahead, Dave.
Thanks, Mayor, Council. We've had a couple of different conversations with a group of local business owners and operators relative to what the city can do to assist local businesses during the COVID-19 response. And we've had a couple of different conversations via Facebook Live with a broader community. And to make a long story short, I guess I'd kind of describe where I think we're at this way. You all know well that we as a city, we provide utility services, we take care of streets, we police, we keep things safe. We do all those different things. When it comes to assisting businesses at a time like this, we really, really rely very heavily on others, particularly with respect to the financial assistance that businesses can tap into. It's really a matter of them and the relationship that they have with their bank. If they want to tap into the funds that are being distributed through the Small Business Administration, that becomes absolutely critical for them. And we've tried to push that message as best we can. I really appreciated Nathan Trevort, who participated with us earlier today. I think he's certainly one of our local experts when it comes to dealing with the Small Business Administration and just their processes and programs and different things like that. I think we're fortunate to have Mike, council member, with his banking experience as well. But relative to what we as a city can do, I'm open to suggestions like we have been. We've mentioned very clearly that any businesses that anticipate having a problem, staying current on their utility bills because of a COVID-related issue, need to reach out to our utility staff as soon as they can, with the idea that everybody's going to have more options available, based on how soon we start to have those conversations and that type of a thing. It seems to me that that's certainly a key area where we can provide some immediate assistance. We have tried to encourage people to support our local businesses. I'm not sure who's controlling screens, but if I could have it for just a minute, I'll show one thing that we've done to try to encourage what the mayor suggested earlier. And I'll put it this way. I mean, I think it's takeout Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, anytime anybody possibly can find justification for supporting a local restaurant. Please, please, please is my message. Please do that. Thank you. I think we have a much better chance of weathering this storm well if these different folks that we've listed here on a web page that our SFCN staff helped us create, if they can keep their doors open and keep people employed and maintain contact with the community and continue to serve the community, I think that not only is going to help us weather the storm of just dealing with this response and trying to flatten the curve, but also help us rebound that much faster back when start to be subject to less social distancing directives and that type of a thing. So this now is, again, I'd phrase it as a request. I'd ask that everybody make note of the information that we have here on this page. Please take this link, share it with your friends, distribute it as widely as you can. I've had several people that have asked over the course of the past couple of weeks that they struggle to know what restaurants are open and when and how to contact them and how to be supportive. And there's no better way to do that than to spend time with them spend money, support them. And those are the main things that we've been doing as a city. If you've had a chance to look at webpage that we've created as kind of our own local clearinghouse for different resources that are available. It certainly is my hope that anybody that needs the most significant assistance that's available, and again, that's coming through the federal government ultimately. There is also very noteworthy assistance coming from the state, the Governor's Office of Economic Development. If businesses haven't already tapped into that, and if they don't know how to, we want them to reach out to us as the city, just as one other avenue to where we hopefully can make them familiar with processes and help them make the connections that they need in order to take advantage of the benefits that exist. I've been around for a little while now. I've never seen anything as holistic in terms of a response where government at the federal, state, and local levels have all worked in concert to do everything that they can, be supportive and to help businesses and to try to make the situation as bearable for everybody as possible. And we certainly want our local business community to participate very robustly and as fully as they can in the different programs that are available and to access those resources. So to kind of recap, it's communication, it's letting people know, for example, again with the restaurants, who's open, how to patronize them, different things like that. It's in as much as we can to try to be supportive in terms of accommodating the immediate cash flow needs and things like that businesses have, via working with them on utility bills. And then back to communication, it's communicating about the different programs that are available and just trying to, again, make that information as readily available as we can. On that note, our effort is really quite redundant. The Chamber also has excellent resources, largely the identical things that we have on our website, as does the state of Utah, the Economic Development Corporation of Utah, and different folks like that. So we'll probably be doing some retooling here in the next few days, just to try to make sure that we're being as efficient and as effective as we can in terms of the information that we have on our website and how the message is portrayed that way. But I think that's it relative to a report on what we've been doing. There were some invitations there. I don't know how much time you want to spend maybe discussing things now, but if anyone has any thoughts or ideas about things that we can or should be doing, we've talked, I'll just mention this about other things, maybe providing some direct support via purchasing gift cards and things like that during this particular time. Other communities are doing different things, almost different types of games relative to how a community could be energized to support businesses that are still open. So that's my report. I'm certainly very excited to get any thoughts or comments that any of you have as to what we can do better or what we can do differently.
Thanks, Dave and Seth. Appreciate the update on that.
One quick question for Dave, Mayor, if I could. There, looking over that list of restaurants, it's quite impressive. Notice there are some still local eateries that are still not on there. How does a local business get on there? What do they need to contact Dave? Added onto that.
Well, that's a great question. Here's the easiest way. 801-804-4586. Give me a call, please. We reached out to everybody that has a restaurant business license in Spanish Fort. That's how we put this list together. And obviously we had a really, really strong response. You're right. There are a number that we didn't hear back from. Some of those I think probably are in a little different mode relative to how they're operating right now. But if anybody wants to be included in this list, that's my number. I'll say it again, 801-804-4586. My email address is on our website. It's pretty easy to find as well. And I'll just mention this. We had several businesses contact us about being a part of this page, about having their information posted here, but they don't have a presence in Spanish Fort. There's been a similar effort made countywide. There's been a similar effort made statewide. This is for Spanish Fort restaurant, period. And that's for obvious reasons, right? We want our restaurants supported. And that's, I guess, how I answer your question.
Good enough. Hey, I appreciate that very much. Yeah, we want to support. Oh, go ahead, Chad.
Sorry, I just question, this might be for Tyler. I know it's quarter, I don't know where we're spending like our stuff, about them might card for our local restaurants. Card,
Chad, I think we definitely ought to consider that. I think what Chad's referring to is our employee safety program. Employee is safe, employees that are in positions that are safety sensitive, they qualify for a reward every month, every quarter. We have, I don't know if we've sent those out yet. I'll have to check with payroll. But I'll certainly make a note. I think that's a great idea. Chad, I appreciate it.
All right. Let's move on then. Let's move on to the consent items.
Motion to approve the consent item.
second,
A motion by Councilman Gordon, a second by Councilman Argal. All in favor, say aye.
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 Passes. All right, public hearing, FY 2020 budget revision number 3.
All right. Mayor, I'll step up to the podium for a moment, and
Okay.
I'll take a brief moment here and let Kent do the majority of the talking. I just want to set the table a little bit. It's been a significantly different budget revision than we set out then, even just a month ago, as we began finalizing, not putting it together, but began finalizing the revision budget, considering the circumstances as they are. And Kent and others have looked to eliminate, we've actually cut significant budget. What's really interesting is that as Kent goes through vision tonight, you might not actually see that, and in part because some of the projects that we're doing that have already started and are well into the queue, the all abilities part, some of the changes that are being made for those seem to dwarf some of the other changes that we have to fund. But as Kent goes through this, we'll hopefully notice there's a reduction in revenue, which everybody is feeling. And at this moment, I think we've estimated reduction in our revenue of about $10 or more just from this COVID cliff. I'll call it, is of revenue. What we're seeing is that many of our stores aren't open anymore. We really don't know what the impact of that will be as we get our information state. It lags by 2 months. So we're getting sales tax data back for January. We barely got that information back about a week and a half. And we'll get February's numbers here in about 2 weeks. February's numbers will be probably really good. And if we were continuing to budget, this budget under normal circumstances, you would see our sales tax budget numbers probably go up a couple $100,000. But instead, we have cut significant sales tax. Just the last 2 months of this budget year, we're estimating loss about decrease of about $700,000. So I really appreciate the work of putting this together and moving everything around. Each of the directors and the managers that work in the budgets, they have been keenly aware of the challenges that are surrounding everybody. We're certainly not unique, and in fact, they've been talking about significant impact on business, recognize that effect on them. And so as Kent goes through, feel free to ask any questions, but it's been a significant how we were putting this budget together, visioning. So I wanted to express my appreciation to every individual that's participating. They understand the very so with that, maybe setting the table.
Okay,
Icon? Yeah.
Okay, so revision number 3, 2020 budget. Current budget is 117 million. The revision is 117 million. So you can see that the difference is only grand total, the less than 1% difference. Seems kind of odd to have budget hearing such a small amount. So many moving pieces by the time you balance out all of the projects needed to be increased, and also balance out all the projects decreased. So I'll walk you through how different. So this is how new budget spread out 3 different categories. General fund, your enterprise funds, miscellaneous funds. Pie chart, about the same as it did last time. Good. And in total, I'll show you to that green arrow here, or red arrow, and it shows that the net is 360. Miscellaneous funds had a large increase, while the general fund and enterprise all decreased. I'm going to walk through that. Looks like that enterprise fund only went down $19,000. The general fund only went down 42. I'll walk you through what. These are the enterprise funds. See, the total, the net was 19,000. See how much activity in adjusting budget taking place with projects, trying to prepare for future projects, and to complete projects already started. Star I want to draw to is the storm and street storm drain line. The $1.2 million increase street storm, and I'll walk through that part of it. In the end, it only decreased. This is a street storm. I'm going to draw attention to some of the capital that's in that. You can see that we increased 400,000. That's by a plan. Also, we've started to increase even more streets improvements. This is a big project here in the streets department. Large expenses are planned to take place. Spanish Fork is proud of their streets. Do have a great program of maintenance. Great needs as our city grows for great streets and improvement. Which come back to that streets minute. This is a snapshot of the general fund, and you can see in total it changed 40 net 42,000. You can see some large changes. Park, there's in the ambulance, large increase in the ambulance, mainly because of change in the structure of how the ambulance covering shifts with it earn their pay resulted in a need for budget revisions, so we and people have budget pay. This is a picture of the capital projects fund. Two projects inside this capital project fund we call Parks Construction. Large one for the Rocky Mountain Corridor Park, Legacy Farms area. It started to be constructed. Funds were available for that. The also is the new All Abilities Park, anticipating when those expenses ready to be paid by the city. Total project, try to budget the whole project in this year. So we've adjusted this fund up quite a bit. Total project, 13 million. Some of those expenses will be covered by utilities. Improvements are installed and constructed in the areas around the All Abilities Park. Some of those expenses. Canyon Road, on the power trails, those are expensive to be handled by outside. And also, we're anticipating that some of these funds needed next year. Invoices won't all be in. Some of those can be paid for. So this is a $800,000 increase this year budget. Help get through the end of. This one is the top of Center Street. We've seen some large construction, a big change taking place at the top of Center Street, hopefully to improve movement of traffic. Top end of Spanish Fork on Center Street, working with the school district. That process, if you ever drive in that area, you'll continue improvements there. We determined how much we're going to spend between now and the end of the year, and we've reduced this capital project. Gets me to, we advertised part of this public hearing, transfer, streets, storm drain. There are several projects, not enough funds in those streets, storm drain funds. Complete these projects. Listed out a couple of them. Need for a transfer from the electric fund, streets, storm drain fund. And the three main areas are those around Canyon Creek Parkway, Spanish Fork Parkway, Marketplace Drive. In parentheses, those are around Lowe's. Remember all the new streets that were built out there? There's opportunity now to pay for those streets that are out there, help commerce move around in that area. Second one is extension and the completion of Spanish Fork Parkway. It will eventually run from 4th North all the way into the hospital area. Train track. This fence needed to complete that roadway. The last one is streets storm drain improvements near the All Abilities Park. We're out on Canyon Road. Finish that park. Streets around that new park that's there. So those are the three areas, streets. So we've advertised electric fund transfer $9 million from its reserves from the storm fund. Advertise that in the paper. Sent a notice for all utility rate payers, the city utility bill, set of requirements for us to transfer one utility fund to another utility fund. Any fund to be transparent with our rate payers, what those funds are, where they're being transferred from and where they're going to. There's another bit of information I need to share at this public hearing. Part of the requirement talks about how much is being transferred, where it's going to, what's the annual revenue, what's the average, how it compares to an average bill. These numbers normally, these are going to be large sorted numbers, meet the requirement state legislature has for me to do this transfer. This is the information to share it. So the annual revenue collected is $6 million for customers, based that off $12,992. Average bill, annual bill, dollars. Annual bill, annual monthly bill is $1.4. The annual transfer, what that is, means to each customer is dollars monthly. That's the information I need to share for our transfer. Again, it's for the major traffic, roadways, storm drain areas around the Spanish Fork. There isn't enough funds currently. Storm drain, streets fund, so it needs The next section is explaining about the donations. If the only time that donation added to city wants to add money to donation, it needs to meet the donation policy. Then it needs to be presented in a public hearing. And this is the list of those prior in the past approved. Remember, we added Bill Halverson one, that's why I highlighted. And if there's any that you want to remove or you want to add to, then this gives us this meeting. And you so this is my last slide. So new budget is close to the old budget. There are
Okay. Thanks, Kent. There might be some questions, but let's go into public hearing. And then after that, we can have some questions. So I'd entertain a motion to go into public hearing.
Motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
And a motion by Councilman Gordon, a second by Councilmember Beck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're in public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to talk about the budget? Public. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to go out of public hearing.
Move we go out of public hearing.
A motion by Councilman Mendenhall, a second by Councilman Scobes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any questions or discussions on this?
Just a quick question. Some of the conversation that we had around this transfer was help also storm drain fund for solvent. That was part of it. I thought that part of that 9 million.
Yes, Councilman Argyle, absolutely. This is exactly what was discussed at the work session at Fairmont. It achieves exactly that. Chris and Jamie have been working through that budget, and this helps them to be able to do all of these projects, which are at their door right now. That fund. Awesome. And frankly, these are some great projects that Kent highlighted, that Chris, Amy, the public is. One very notable one is that Canyon Road will be completely finished now for another 3.5 blocks. That'll be a big improvement to the travel there on Canyon Road, making that road fully completed on both sides of the road, I think all the way up to about, what is that, 100 east there at the end of that church. And I don't think we can get the Spanish Fork Parkway connection enough, but unfortunately there is a little bit of time required there as we work railroad challenge that road over.
We do that. Say we're going to do that, or we're hiring.
We will go to bid on that contract.
Any other questions?
Mayor, one thing I wanted to discuss just briefly with, and if you could go back to that donations page. This is something that the yesterday's rodeo committee has talked about. Kent and I have worked through a couple of challenges, and I don't have a good solution yet. And Kent and I understand the challenge. Again, we're trying to find this. A couple of years ago in the 2007 rodeo, sorry, there was an amount that was collected from the sales that went toward some good causes. That was something that the crowd was aware of, and in fact, if you remember that year, there was everybody in every one of the rodeos drawing and actually gave away Polaris Ranger that was donated to the city, or I guess we won it. Rodeo won it from the PRCA, an award that we won. We made that available to every ticket holder, and as a part of that value, a dollar from their sales went into a little bit of a charitable opportunity. That year, we gave about $5,000 to PRCA Hall of some other money tough enough to wear pink that we went. But there was about $4,750 left that rodeo put kind of aside for possible future day where there was some kind of a rodeo related that the rodeo work. Because the rodeo is a part of the city, then that money really is controlled by the budget. You all understand that. But there has been a local cowboy, one that has ridden rodeos time he was a young cowboy in our various Little Britches rodeos that are held at our fairgrounds, has participated in our Fiesta Days rodeo, and the end of last year was very badly injured, near death. In ICU months, in fact, now home, but was in ICU for months. That cowboy, of course, has medical. And the rodeo committee would like to take the funds that were saved, that were left over, if you will, from that particular year, that $4,000, and find a way to give that to this particular cowboy. Giving it to him as an individual is actually very, very tricky. We could give it to him, but then he would actually get taxed for it. It's not the right way to do it. Trying to find a nonprofit organization to give that money to, it may be that the Diamond Fork Riding Club fits that bill. They're looking at some of their articles of incorporation that will work. If that's the case, maybe we can work donation to them that by contract they give every dollar. But we're still trying to figure that out. How do we get it there without creating tax companies? This money was received and earmarked a couple of years ago, and working on trying to find the right avenue, or the correct, proper avenue to get it to him. Rodeo recommendation, add that then no longer, we'll use all the funds left from that account. Kind of giving you that background, that's the recommendation. Use Kent as kind of our guide, proper ways that they're making follow all the requirements have. But I'd like to ask the council to put that on the list as well, pending figuring out how to exactly do that.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Move that we approve 2020 budget revision.
Plus adding that, just Seth talked about, our donation fund.
And adding that donation.
Okay. Got a motion by Councilmember Scobes, a second by Councilman Argal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. All right, new business, development agreement for Angela Townhome. Take it away, Dave.
Mayor, thank you. Trying to unmute while I was getting the screen. Simply put, the agreement's on your agenda tonight because the developer would like to build a different style townhome than what was approved during the preliminary plat approval process. And it's different from what was attached as an exhibit to the agreement that you approved for this project in December of 2019. In my opinion, the proposed changes are significant. So they're not incidental or minor, but they're also a pretty significant enhancement over what was approved with the plat and with the previous agreement. So with that, I think it's appropriate simply to amend the agreement and not require the developer to go back through the approval process. But that's why this is on your agenda. It's just because of that.
Dave, are you wanting them to be able to see that item on your?
We can. I have it
Okay, I didn't know if you wanted.
here. Yeah, it's more a matter of what they'd like to see than anything else. So
Okay.
I apologize for the orientation of these images. Let me get that changed.
Brandon,
Right. So this is what's now proposed to be constructed. There are two different styles. This is a front load style.
So Dave, I just have a quick question. Why did they make the change if it's probably a more expensive route? Is that why? So they could get more money, or what was their initial thought?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer, but honestly, I don't think they put a whole lot of thought into what they presented as we went through the plat approval process. That's my read. And once they received that approval and started looking more seriously at construction costs and what townhomes are selling for in the market and different things like that, they brought something back to the table that, again, in my opinion, it's a pretty significant upgrade.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the development agreement for the Anela Townhomes.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilmember Beck. And who was the second? Councilman Scobes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Kind of hard to see the little. All right. Resolution 20-08 approving an interlocal agreement with Salem City for legal services and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement.
thank you, Mayor. I'll take this one, and every few years we review our agreements we have with interlocal entities. This one tonight is the agreement that we have with Salem City. Many may not know, they watch this, but Spanish Fort City provides legal service for Salem City as well as for this Spanish Fort. So our new city attorney Vaughn and his very capable staff that are with our legal service, of course, Chief Baker report, they provide all the legal services, both prosecution and civil, for the two cities. And we are undergoing a little bit of a right sizing in how the relationship works and costs that are two cities, Spanish Fort and Salem. When I first started here 15 years ago, the relationship was a 33 cent split, 2/3, 1/3 split, where we carried the. As our city has grown somewhat disproportionately, Salem, our commercial businesses and the cases that our attorneys case load for the attorneys, contract load for the attorneys, etc. Through the data gathering that we have, it looks to be more like so that went from 33.6 for fractions, slowly gone a little bit more weighted towards Spanish City, and currently, I believe we're at a 26% Salem, 74% Spanish Fort range. This contract, the major change to the contract is that it's set at 80% Spanish Fort, 20% Salem, So in 15 years and the growth that we've seen, that relationship changed from a 1/3, 2/3 split to a 4/5, 1/5 split for. Means that Salem will contribute about $140,000, $130,000 for legal service. City will, of course, the rest. That's the major change and the impact on the budget. This is proposed to go in effect the FY21 budget. And then another good thing about this is that we're creating some metrics that we can use to kind of adjust this scale from year to year so it stays a little more current and is still rich. So Vaughn and staff will be working on gathering that data from their caseloads, et cetera. There you go.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on this?
I should also add that Salem has received this, and I believe that they approved this at their council last.
That's correct, they did.
Sure they would. Good deal for them. All right, any question or comment? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve local agreement with Salem City School Service and authorizing the agreement. Grant.
Second,
Got a motion by Councilman Gordon, a second by Councilman Scobes. This is going to be a roll call vote. Councilman Scobes. Councilman Mendenhall. Got to unmute so I can hear you. Councilman Gordon.
Yes, aye.
Councilman Argal.
aye.
Councilmember Bath.
Aye.
That approved. All right, go to C, structural engineering, tier 2 and 3 study contract, city office building.
All
Who's
right,
taking that one?
that's fine. Sorry, I was trying to take myself off of being muted there. So, quick question. Obviously, that's be kind of hard to answer with all of us technology here, but just think to yourselves, where were you at 7:09 a.m. Wednesday, March 8th? That was the day that we had there was an earthquake actually a little further north up in Magna, Salt Lake City area, 5.7 earthquake. And anyway, that day was definitely memorable to our employees, especially at the old Thurber School, which is now the office building. So you may remember a couple months back, you approved a tier 1 structural assessment of the office building, which is structural assessment where professional engineers assess the structural elements of the building to make sure that they'll continue to safely perform their intended, specifically if there were to be an earthquake. Just as a reminder, the city office building was constructed in 1910, renovated in 1905. There were seismic improvements that were made. As you can imagine, structurally, construction companies now are able to build buildings that are a lot more resistant to earthquakes now than they were able to back in 1985. So there were some improvements, but the standards now are a lot higher. So why would we want to perform a structural assessment? Really the main reason to determine whether or not the building is safe, determine how long we can use the building without renovation, and also to determine the cost of a renovation. It's interesting, when we started this process with the tier 1 assessment, we knew that there would likely be a tier 2 assessment required. Little did we know that in between tier 1 and tier 2 assessment, we would actually have an earthquake. It was interesting to see some of the responses from the employees as they dealt with the unknown of what will happen to the building if there actually is an earthquake here in Spanish Fork. So anyway, after that experience, I think it became even more apparent as to why this is important to move forward with. So with the tier 1 assessment, which we recently completed, they do really a basic assessment. They come and they look at the building. They'll go up they went up into the bell tower and looked at kind of the guts of the building, but it was more of an eyeball approach. They took our plans for the city office building and looked over those. The company that did this is Rivoli Engineering, Salt Lake, and the results that they shared with us is that number one, there was insufficient strength of unreinforced masonry walls, inadequate connections of the roof and the floor diaphragms to the masonry shear walls, and they recommended that we move forward with a tier 2. So a tier 2 is more detailed. They require a geotechnical report, which we actually have on the adjacent property to here, thanks to the library. We're in the process of designing right now. They'll do some computer modeling. So they'll actually model the city office building, and then they'll be able to plug in numbers to show different magnitudes of earthquakes, how they would actually affect the building, so the building would stand or fall at certain magnitudes. They'll come up with drawings, show the recommended structural rehab that would need to take place in order to bring the building up to a specific size code. They'll help us understand the cost of rehabilitating the building if there are elements that need to be improved. They'll also take material samples from the building. So a tier 3 is part of the contract that for you. It includes tier 2, tier 3. Tier 3, we've been assured by the structural engineers, would only be required if our building, once they go through the tier 2, if they find things that are really abnormal in the building versus buildings that were constructed around this period of time that it was. Also, a tier 3 may be a good idea if there is a decision that you need to move forward with some type of a rehabilitation. It would save the so what's the cost for a tier 2, tier 3? Tier 2 would be about $6,000. That includes re-release costs as well as they would contract with an outside firm to help with full of item. Tier 3, which may or may not be necessary, would be $63,000. That's the contract that's for you right now to approve moving forward with a tier and a tier 3 if necessary.
Mayor, Tyler, let me just add one thought or one item that's been, funds for this have been included in that vision budget approved, but we're able to find. And maybe let me add one other thought, sorry. This building is beautiful, it's historical, and certainly it's old. One of the worries, one of the concerns that we have about the Thurber School isn't that if in the event of an earthquake that floors will fall down and will fall from the second floor down to the first floor. That really isn't likely in the scenarios that earthquakes happen. But one concern that we do have is how usable will the building be? If it does sustain significant damage, like some buildings near the epicenter of that Magna earthquake, if it does sustain sizable damage and the building does become uninhabitable after, so everybody can get out, everybody's safe, but due to the cracks or whatever that may occur, damage to the building, we need to be able to plan. We need to be better prepared, knowing what some of the weaknesses, maybe what some of the costs are on how they building. Really that step in getting us. So this will open up a whole other set of questions that we'll need to address, but we can't even begin to address the questions. Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks, Tyler. Okay, is there any questions or comments on this? If there is not, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the structural engineering tier 2 pre-study contract city office.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Argal, a second by Councilmember Beck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right, let's move to board appointment. I would like to appoint to the UMPA Jake Thurler as an alternate tech committee member. And also, wait a minute,
No, I said
Also-
Jake Hires.
hired, sorry. And also, I'd like to appoint him also on the SUVPS as an alternate tech.
To
I move
approve.
we approve the mayor's board appointments.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Mendenhall, a second by Councilman Argal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. All right. Let's move down to discussion, proposed impact fees. Be Chris.
Okay, I'm trying to present my screen here. Can everyone see this?
Yeah. And Chris, I don't know if you noticed, I think we had Deanne Hewish meeting as well.
So we'd like to welcome Deanne. Deanne represents the Home Builders Association. Try to work closely with them on our impact fees and the proposed changes. We actually have a meeting with Deanne tomorrow, kind of talk through philosophically these changes and what is causing them. Right now, if you include electric hookup fees, which a lot of cities that are with Rocky Mountain Power pay, but not specifically as an impact fee. Spanish Fork is the second lowest out of these equivalent cities that we compare to. And what we have found is being low is not always good for even the developer. A lot of developers have fronted projects that are growth related projects and then have come to us and complained that it's taking too long to be paid back for those projects. And so as we reviewed the impact fees and what they should be, we've been more out looking into the next 10 years of projects that are coming up, which the law allows. The law allows you to look 10 years into the future, and looking into those 10 years worth of projects, we come up with what is called the maximum allowable impact. Now, for power, the maximum allowable impact fee is $1,800. But looking at our impact fee fund and how it's doing, we don't feel like we need to raise it to the maximum allowable impact fee. And we still will be able to fund projects and get them reimbursed at a good amount of time. Same with stormwater. The stormwater, we have very few stormwater impact fee projects because of LID. And so if we charge the maximum allowable impact fee, that fund would actually have a lot of money in it that it would be difficult to spend in a 6-year period of time, which is what the law requires. So it is proposed that we raise it to an amount that keeps that fund in the positive, but not too much in the positive, that we wouldn't spend the money on growth related projects in the time allowed. Drinking water, similar situation. but then pressurized irrigation, actually, as the city's grown and our pressurized irrigation reservoir can actually support more people because of some of our water conservation programs and the like. That fee actually went down about $120. But wastewater, looking into the future with wastewater, there's a lot of changes going on in Utah with wastewater. You hear a lot on the news about nutrient removal, about algae blooms in Utah Lake, ramped up regulation for wastewater treatment plants. And as you look at all those changes, you'll see across the board in all the cities that cost for wastewater is going up significantly, as well as costs for construction in general throughout the state. Construction costs have gone up, and so you'll see the biggest impact or increase in our impact fees in the wastewater. A lot of that is regulation driven. Public safety, we just built that new fire station number 62, and with that, the impact fee goes up about $136. And then transportation impact fee. This is the one that developers have really felt the pinch on as they go in, they build a road that's growth related, and then they feel like they're waiting way too long to get reimbursed. So we've taken a hard look at the transportation impact fee, and our impact fee is really quite low at $300. So maximum allowable is $1,100, but more to help these fronted impact fee projects get reimbursed at a more reasonable time. We are recommending that we do charge the maximum allowable impact fee for transportation. It would make it go up about $800. And then finally, right now the parks impact fee is about $4,000. With the high cost of land and the cost of building parks going up, you could justify an $8,000 a lot impact fee to provide the same level of service of park that we enjoy now to future residents. Now, that's really high, and we feel like that would be too high. But fact of the matter is, our parks are costing that much to build. So we're recommending that there's a similar increase in the park impact fee as well. What that would do is it bring our impact fee from about $11,000 per home to about $14,600 per home. So what does that do to us as far as the average? The average impact fee and hookup fee together is $18,600 per home. We were at $14,000, brings us into about $17,400. So we're still would be about 7% below average of these cities, which are very similar cities for us compared to our area. But we feel like this will solve a lot of concerns that developers have come to us with, saying, and these are big developers, biggest developers in the state. They've come to us and said, look, your impact fees are not reimbursing us for the projects we fronted as quickly as we really need to meet our return on investments. We feel like this will help go a long way in helping that. Anyway, this is what we are advertising online. We're going to meet with the Home Builders Association tomorrow and go through this in detail. We've just sent them the full studies that come up with these amounts, and we really appreciate their review of that. We're really concerned that these fees be sensible and right. So we've reached out to 2 or 3 major consultants on impact fees in the state to have them review them in detail and make sure that that they felt they were legal and in both methodology and what we're proposing to charge. And they've all said that we are well within our legal limits to even charge the maximum amount, but that's not what we're recommending at this. Anyway, any questions on this or?
Maybe less of a question and more of a comment or request. I'd really like to take a hard look at the transportation fee. Put in the broader context, looking at a residential permit, I agree that it ends up being pretty nominal. But for retail uses, manufacturing uses, and different folks like that, that oftentimes is the biggest fee that they pay. And if we multiply it by 2+ times, I think that's going to create some real challenges to maybe do some other things that we'd like to have done here in the city.
Yeah, so it's interesting, as we went through that study, we hired a couple of transportation engineers and also Zions Makes to help us review it. One of the underlying factors that Horrocks Engineering, who did the original study way back when, was very, very conservative low. And if you adjust that to what they recommend, then it actually burdens especially the commercial, the banks and some of these things that have a high volume of commercial coming in. It actually distributes that more to the residential. And so we feel like this is going to have a not as big of an impact on commercial and industrial like what you're worried about. The denominator that kind of divided between residential and commercial went up quite a bit, so that the residential bears a lot more of that, the brunt of that cost.
When can we go through some of those types of things? Maybe do just a couple of scenarios with some different folks, even folks that we're working with right now, just to see how it would impact them.
At any time.
All right. Thanks, Chris. This is just a discussion item, so there's be taken on this. So that's just for information, and we appreciate the hard work and working with all the bodies to be on that. There is no closed session, and so I just want to reach out to everybody again. Thank you for participating in this historical city council meeting that we just had. It's weird, if I can say that. It's everybody all over the place, but as you can see, the city keeps functioning during all these times, even though a little different manner. So we thank everybody. We had a few kinks, but we'll get them worked out, and we'll keep on going. So I'd entertain a motion.
I move
to
we adjourn.
Got a motion by Councilman Gordon,
Second.
second by Councilmember Beck. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody.